Three things to remember when God is silent. Three things to remember when God is silent. Number one, dude, God is just the most in charge. He's just the most in charge, okay? It doesn't matter if the evil empire has a plan. The evil empire cannot thwart God's plans. They just can't do it. God is, a theological term, we call it sovereign. He demonstrates his sovereignty. That means he's the most in charge. That means he owns everything and does whatever he wants, whatever is right, whatever is good according to his own intellect, according to his own wisdom, according to his own counsel. He does whatever he wants to with his stuff. He has the right to do it because it's his. That includes you and me, all the humans, all the animals, all the governments, all the years, all the millennia. They're all his, and he does whatever he wants at the right time. And check this out, in his sovereignty, he can't be challenged. Nobody can challenge him. Nobody, even those who would presume to, don't have any idea what they're talking about. Okay, so let's pretend that you and I together, we walk into the laboratory of a rocket scientist, and we start poking around, and we say, what does this do? Why are you doing it this way? I don't like this over here. What's this for? And we're just poking around, and maybe this rocket scientist is exceedingly kind and says, guys, can I just tell you, you don't know the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of the questions you even should ask. So I don't need to answer you what I'm doing with all my things. You don't have your own lab. I do. I know what to do with a rocket scientist lab. You don't necessarily know. In the same way, as if we go just accusing God of this, that, and the other thing, say, you should run it like this, or I think it should be this way. In his sovereignty, God says, yeah, you don't know the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of the questions. You would even have to ask to understand this slightly, even if you had the hardware where you possibly could understand it. And by the way, you don't have a universe, i.e., you don't have a rocket scientist lab, i.e., you can't do any of this anyway. So who are you to instruct your God about how or what he should do? This is what we mean by, guys, he's not mean about it. He's actually very friendly, but he's unchallengeable. You can't challenge him. You don't understand the things to be able to challenge him. He is 100% sovereign. He's sovereign, we see in the book of Esther. Even, we're going to find out, even the removal of Queen Vashti is God sovereignly interacting. Even the anger and the psychopath council that is called to make this law is happening within the sovereignty of God. Because what does God need? We're going to find out. God needs a queen on his throne that is his girl, that he can direct to do what he needs her to do to save the people of the promise so the seed can be preserved. God knows what to do. He knows the end from the beginning. Many of you are familiar with one of the greatest movies ever made, Avengers: Infinity War. And you've heard me talk about this before. And you might say, Carter, why do you always talk about this movie? And my question to you is, well, why not talk about this movie? But you might be familiar with one of the awesome pivotal scenes. It's when Doctor Strange is looking forward into all the 14 million possible conclusions or outcomes of the Avengers fighting Thanos. And it comes out that only 1 in 14 million is the one that can really work. Well, Doctor Strange has the power to look into the future. And you might think that God, that's what God does. He looks into the future and sees all outcomes possible. But God isn't like Doctor Strange. He's not limited the way Doctor Strange is. See, God doesn't need to look into the future. God writes the future. God is the one who decides what is going to happen. He's not in the movie. He's outside of the movie writing the movie. That's what God is doing. God is 100% sovereign. God is the most in charge, okay? So in the book of Esther, what you're going to see is it's almost like there's these weird dominoes that are falling, and they just seem like they're in random places, and I don't understand why this is happening. And that's because God knows where the dominoes need to be to fall in the right way to do what he needs to happen. What seems like just coincidence, random coincidence, we find out later is God's providence. And what providence means is it's God's use of his sovereignty to benefit those that he loves. He knows how to set it up, baby. He knows what to do. So what do? Well, we trust him. We trust that he's leading us in a way that is actually beneficial for us. That means when you're in the relationship and it doesn't really work the way that you wanted to, and you're heartbroken. You're like, God, why is this happening? He says, it's not time. We say, God, I trust that your no, if it's from you, is as good as your yes, if it's from you. I can trust that you are sovereign. You know where all the dominoes go. I can trust that my blueprint for my life, I see my blueprint not happening. I know God could affect and make my life go according to my blueprint. He's not, and so I choose to trust him. I choose to step back and look at my coming fears and my current fears and the dreads that maybe somebody somewhere in high places and manipulating things and causing things to maybe go bad for me. I look at all that through the lens of God is the most in charge. God is the one who's sovereign. He can take care of anything. He knows what's happening. He's not just looking into my future, he writes my future. He's the God that does all of this and can be trusted with it. That means if I'm still in a painful marriage, even though I feel powerless, I look at it through the lens of God is the most in charge. And he knows how and when to place the dominoes so that they fall just right.